Hello. If you are listening to this message, then I am dead, or on the toilet, or dead on the toilet. But do not mourn for me, for tonight on the RJ Bayley Rock Show, I bring you an exclusive interview with Canadian rockers Ultimatum, as well as playing their new EP in full. But first, let us remember my life, or the fact that I am on the toilet, or the fact that I am dead on the toilet, with some quality rock and roll. The exclusive interview that I did today with Ultimatum on the Skype machine all the way from Thunder Bay, Canada, and then we're going to tuck in two of their really tasty, very, very good 4-track new EP that's coming out ahead of their new album. I cannot wait to play these tracks for you. They are top notch. But firstly, I've said it, I'm going to do it. This is Deep Purple. Right now, though, this was very fun to do, and they got up at a fairly inhuman hour. So thanks very much to the boys from Canada for this. This is our exclusive interview with Ultimatum, followed by a full playthrough of their new EP. Hello, you're listening to the RJ Bayley Rock Show here on Castle FM Scotland, and now also syndicated on Lynx Radio. I'm joined by the good folks of Ultimatum. They've got a brand new EP out. It's got some cracking tracks on there. It's called Anybody Out There. They've also got a brand new album coming out soon, which I'm very excited about. How are you doing, gentlemen?
Spectacular.
Good. Awesome.
Yeah.
Despite it being what, 7:15 your time?
8:15 actually.
That's not quite so terrible. Not quite so terrible.
A little better.
It's normal.
Where are you located?
We are in Thunder Bay, Ontario.
In where, sorry?
Thunder Bay, Ontario, the middle of Canada, so isolated from everything.
Thunder Bay is like the most metal name for a town anywhere.
Definitely up there.
So, introduce yourselves, if you wouldn't mind. Your names.
I'm Cam Thomas, the lead guitar player of Ultimatum.
James Cole, bass.
Sam Muka, vocals and rhythm.
Brendan Byers, drummer and backup vocals.
And that's it.
There was no "and" there, so I was like, is there someone else hanging about that I don't know about? Someone secretly waiting in the wings. So your brand new EP, Anybody Out There, it's got some cracking tracks on there. I'm especially a fan of the track Drugged Inside. I've been listening to it all morning because it is midday over here in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
So tell me, why did you decide to put an EP out when you've got an album coming as well?
I think we wrote a catalog of music. So we wrote way too many songs to fit on one album. So we basically just wanted the listeners to have a little sample of what to expect for the third full-length album that should be out in the summer. So we kind of they were written around the same time, so we just wanted to show the listeners a little bit of the production value and the songwriting level and how that's changed from the last Levels album.
Yeah, that, and we've been putting a lot of time into creating the new album. So for the people that are listening to us, we kind of wanted to throw something out there so they don't get bored.
Sure. Are these songs going to appear on the brand new album, or are these totally different songs?
I don't think we might see one or two pop up around for the new album, but like Cam mentioned earlier, we have a lot of tracks ready to go. We've got a lot of options, a lot of new music that we're really excited to get out there. So in terms of those songs appearing on the third album, I'd say it's unlikely, but I wouldn't rule it out.
Oh, so that's good. That's a good reason to get invested there, because when I've bought EPs in the past, when I bought Ailstorm's second EP, I was really delighted. But then the second album came out, and I was like, these songs are all on this album, so why did I bother buying the EP? But it's really good to have some fresh stuff out, a good reason to get invested in this particular little EP, and then you know that you're still going to get plenty of fresh stuff on the brand new album. Where did the song ideas come from? It's called Anybody Out There. What's that one about?
More or less, it was kind of just it's kind of just a calling out for the people listening to us. You know, anybody out there? Like, is there anybody out there listening to us? And it's kind of got a heavy, dark feel to it. Don't ask why. That's just kind of the direction my brain thinks, and everybody else here, we kind of think differently, so we put all our ideas and our feels together, and we get something like that.
Yeah, that song is a good example, I think, of a song that kind of came to fruition in the studio. I think that it was one of the ones that we kind of just bounced off each other creatively, and it was kind of cool because usually when we do that and there's not that preconceived idea, we just come here and see what happens. We can come up with some pretty unique stuff because it kind of kicks off with a bit of a dancier feel to it, eh? So I think that's really, I don't know, I just think it was really different, and it's something that's kind of alternative, but it's heavier. It's just something that it's not really easy to define or label. So I love music like that has all those layers to it. So I feel like that song was a really good kickoff track to the EP for sure.
I was definitely quite surprised when I heard the intro of that one, because the last album of yours I heard, it started with that kind of spoken word piece and then went into something fairly apocalyptic, and this one was a real, you know, it had that real almost biblical sense to it, whereas this one definitely comes at you with an almost electronic-y feeling, which is really interesting.
That's actually the stuff you hear there is how we actually sound live. That was actually a guitar pedal, just using the wah, just being able to learn how to use the marriage that a guitar and a foot pedal has. So there was nothing super intensely, you know, not really post-production. A little bit on the vocals for like the echo effect and stuff like that, but instrumentally, like, we sound like that.
Wow, that's impressive. That is very impressive. I also was really fan of track 3, Drugged Inside. Is that about how much you enjoy drugs? Are you on drugs all the time? You live in that rock and roll lifestyle, snorting like Tony Montana levels of cocaine, or have I totally misread this song?
Well, the music we kind of write is, there's a lot of subliminal messaging in it. So that song is actually about a bad relationship, and the drug inside is the love that you feel for a bad relationship, basically.
Yeah, the way I look at it too is just like exactly like Sam said, you know, just kind of a toxic relationship, and kind of becoming codependent on another individual, and it's not necessarily the best for either or. It's just kind of something that people, you know, they get into and they feel comfortable, and you become addicted to one another, and it's harder to actually separate, but it just takes this kind of toxic spiral, right?
Yes, so we're trying to write music these days for people to relate to, and not everybody's going to relate to doing drugs and stuff like that, but a lot of people, most people, are going to relate to some type of emotional thing with somebody else and such.
Yeah, the emotional content, even on some of those heavier tracks that you've mentioned, is definitely even hitting on that emotional side of it, right? I mean, I feel like we can connect to a bigger demographic if we talk about these, you know, these human emotions that everyone kind of goes through, right? So
Oh, I was just saying, pretty close to getting me in trouble there.
So your brand new album's going to come out in summer this year, 2017, which isn't too far away, weirdly. I mean, it's almost spring already. How does that compare to the last album? How does it compare to this EP? Have you chosen to go in a different direction? Does it sound different? Or have you maintained, you know, what happened previously?
I think there's a lot more diversity that's going to be coming out for this one this summer, compared to the last projects we put out. The music has definitely taken a shift. I think it'll be about 3 years since our last full-length album has come out, Levels, back in 2014, and at least for myself anyway, I can hear a definite growth in terms of the music. I think each of the musicians has really focused in and grown with their respective instruments. I know Sam has spent a lot of time with the vocals. He's been taking the tracks home, and he's had a little bit more of a role in how they've been built and controlled. And yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be more of an extension of the EP, but you'll notice some differences and some more diversity for sure.
Is that a deliberate decision, or is this just the way it turned out? Did you want to diversify more, or is it just different noises came out when you went to the studio or when you went to songwriting?
I mean, I think this was the album I always wanted to write. Coming into this, I kind of tried to use words to describe what it was I was kind of wanting to, or what I wanted us to achieve. And it was hard to, because it's, words can't really describe, the feeling that music gives you. So I definitely wanted to make a really diverse album. I think with Levels, we did a lot more of a diversifying job than before. So I think that with this album, we wanted to write way more than we needed. We wanted to just make a really creative album, like art. We wanted to make something that we were very proud of, that we could look back in 10 years' time and say, wow, we did that kind of thing.
So because of that, RJ, we ended up picking up the instruments, and naturally those sounds just came out.
That's good to, there's a real organic flavor to it then. Nothing
Yes.
too conceited. This is just you expressing yourself, how you felt at the time, and wanting to. I admire it when people come out and say they want to make art, because some people feel a bit poncy and a bit wanky when they say that. But I absolutely appreciate that, because that's what it is. Did you take any particular influences from other artists or other artworks from this album, like individually as instrumentalists, including the singing, which I view as an instrument, and also collectively as a band?
I think that's a really cool thing about us, is we don't have one set genre that we all listen to. We take, I know I'm very influenced by what I'm hearing currently, and I listen to a lot of new music, a lot of English music, a lot of, music from our side of the pond kind of thing too, right? I like to listen to classic music, newer, I like to just kind of diversify what I listen to, and I think that just naturally rubs off on us, especially as songwriters. I don't think it's something we shoot for. I think it's something that just naturally happens as to what we're listening to in the present moment, right? So
We all have influences, but we've always had a natural chemistry working together that kind of just happens. And when we get together, the sound that comes out just kind of happens. It's kind of hard to pinpoint us to other bands sounding similar to other bands. It's hard to explain.
That's the one thing I have a real hard time with, is when someone asks us, who do you sound like? It's hard. It's really hard to say, because I feel like every song has its own kind of unique sound to it. So it's best just to honestly show someone one of our tracks and say, this is kind of what we sound like at the present moment, right? Because there's no real way for me to pick one song or one sound that really sums up what Ultimatum is as a whole.
Yeah, it's like, what do you sound like? Well, I sound like this.
Exactly. Just easier,
Where does the name come from of your band?
Well, that was a result. I think we were just starting out, and we were going with a different name, and we found out there was a band out there with that name already, so we had to come to an agreement to change it up. And I don't know. I guess just at the time, it was something that we all thought was strong. Kind of summed up what we were trying to accomplish, especially in Thunder Bay. It's the music scene here can be a little bit cutthroat, and you don't want to be the band that just kind of fades off into the background. So we were trying to give give the city, give our listeners like a choice. Like this is who we are. If you're on board or not, take it or leave it kind of thing. And yeah, so just change the spelling up a little bit, make it a little more unique, a little more metal, if you want to call it that, and just yeah, it kind of came together like that.
Yeah, it was one of those things. It wasn't like a defining moment. I remember my Brendan, the drummer, and myself, we were in high school in grade 9, I think, and we just knew that we had to come up with a band name. We just loved playing music together, and it was that time to come up with a band name, so we just wrote down a bunch, and I knew Ultimatum had to be taken, the original spelling, so we wanted it to look visually cool on a poster or a t-shirt or an ad, so we started rearranging some of the letters so it looked different. It would just look cooler, and it could be whatever we wanted it to be. So, and then it was just something that kind of stuck, like James mentioned too. It was, it's kind of like there was just basically one way that the music scene was going here in Thunder Bay, and what we wanted to do was just be the total opposite of that, right? We wanted to, give people that ultimatum. Either they can, they can jump on board with what we were doing, or they could, go with what everyone else was doing, right? So we just kind of wanted to broaden the horizons as to what was going on in Thunder Bay at the time when we were teenagers in high school.
Nice. I appreciate you saying it's a little bit more metal as well, because is there anything more rock and roll than misspelling names and using improper language? I mean, did you feel tempted to maybe throw a cheeky little erroneous umlaut in there anywhere?
Def Leppard. Yeah. Def Leppard comes to mind.
No, it's a very cool name. How did you guys all meet then? Tell us.
It was something that I wanted to start in grade 9. I love music. I wanted to at least find one person that I could kind of gravitate towards musically. So it was something that I had this vision in my mind, and I knew I needed other people to achieve that. I couldn't just do it by Brendan drumming in one of our high school classes on his notebooks. And even that was just crazy. It blew my mind. He was just such a great drummer, and I felt like we were kind of on that same level at the time, and we knew we needed to expand from then on. So around grade 10, we got James on board, the bass player, and that was awesome. And we were just kind of like a trio for a while, just starting to do covers, write our own music, and then Sam joined the group when we were probably 19. So. And then we just started, we really, the music just took a turn at that point. We started just focusing on original music, on really kind of becoming masters at our craft, playing a lot of live shows, really getting out there that way. As teenagers, we played a lot of clubs and bars and stuff on the weekends, and just kind of developed what our sound was going to be. And then later on, we got our producer, Russ Elder, and we got Thunder Sound Studios, which we're so grateful to have at our disposal. And that's where we do all our recordings. And then we got our web designer too as well, Richard Lawrence, and he's been a huge part. So we have kind of a whole network happening here. But I mean, writing and recording is truly our art and our passion. I love playing live, but when you're writing something and seeing it come to fruition like that, and you can actually share that with other people, such as yourself, I think that's pretty cool.
You seem you obviously take it pretty seriously then. This is a real it sounds like the passion is coming really through in your voice. Is this I mean, do you guys do this full time, or are you working towards that?
Ever since we started, every single Saturday, at least on a Saturday, we get together, and it's a passion that we all basically live and strive for, and we believe the chemistry we have is rare, so we take it very seriously.
As you should. I mean, it comes through in the music as well. It's very very powerful. The artistry is very evident in there. When I was sent a batch of music by a little record label, you guys were the ones that really stood out there. I was very impressed, and I'd like to play your songs every now and then on the radio show too. And I'm a kind of radio show that doesn't really often doesn't repeat a lot of music as well. It's rare that bands certain songs get a replay. So thanks very much for sharing that music with us. It's really wonderful to hear it coming all the way from over your side of the pond. Tell me, you mentioned your web guy. It's a good time to find out where our listeners can find you online. What are your socials? What's your website? Where can we hear you?
We got a lot of outlets. We got our own website, ultimatum.com, nice and easy, nothing to it. We got everything on there in terms of our links and our news, anything you want to know about the band. Beyond that, we've got most of the social media stuff, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We've got our music stuff on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Apple Music. What else? Okay, YouTube. Pretty much, if you can think of it, we're probably there in some capacity.
Everything. And I guess, given the uniqueness of your incorrectly spelt name, you're pretty easy to find on all these channels. Is that right?
You are correct.
Yeah.
Was that something that you took into account as well? Because I've played bands before, and they've got like just general turns of phrase, like hell or high water, and it's like, if you Google hell or high water, that you're never gonna find this band. Was that something that you took into account? Because that's clever.
I don't think it was at the time, but as you know, the internet became more prominent in what we were doing. It was kind of like, oh, well, that worked out real well. So
you should say that.
Saturday, it was planned from the beginning.
Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you guys. I'm really, really looking forward to hearing the new album. Would you mind sending that our way when it comes out?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
on the show?
100%.
And actually, we were just throwing around titles or whatever, and I think it's going to be called A Monument to Time. So that's going to be the actual title of the third full-length album.
That is so metal.
Yeah, we haven't told a lot of people at RJ, so you're one of the first to hear.
Yeah, winner. Winner. A Monument to Time. You heard it here. I'm looking forward to it. Why is it called A Monument to Time? Can you not tell us that?
It's a kind of a culmination of what we've been working on. This album we've been recording since 2015, and I think for us, for everybody here, it feels like that album. You know, it's our monument. It's taken up so much of our lives, so much of our time, and we put so much work into it. It's something that we're really proud of. We're really excited to get out there, share with everybody, and it's something that we're hoping stands up and represents the band for who we are.
Well, I know I'm going to like it because I like you guys already. I love your sound, and I'm sure our listeners will also. So, Ultimatum, thank you so much for talking to us here. It may be 8:15, but for me, that's a unpleasant hour.
Thanks for having
me. To be honest with you.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks for having us.
All right, then. See you later, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Conflict in my head, I twist and turn, I'm restless in my bed. When morning comes, I flash back what she said. I wish you all the best, I wish you did. She likes it rough, she walks the line. And when she talks, she speaks in vain. She steals your heart in every way. But turn your back and you will bleed. I know her will believe in me. It's a midnight, and I'm alone. I'll be flipping through the pages all night. Time is gone. Will you ever get to walk my way? And I can feel all of this pressure build around my head, and I can't win. And though this ocean's filled with all the dreams I've killed, I'm drowning here like I can't swim. I can feel it in my blood, I'm going crazy. I can feel it in my heart, it's in my veins. If you keep running every single little day, yeah, I believe it'll accomplish all of your dreams. If your head, go ahead and blame me, baby. I've been trying every day. I grew up with nothing, so I hope the music saves me. Sick and tired of always sleeping in the rain. Save me from this place. Save me. Save me from this place. Save me. There's a beauty about a land losing focus, even just for a moment. The mind of the poet, fully possessed, no end to it. Such a courageous gift, you'll truly be missed. And I can feel all of this pressure build around my head, and I can't win. And though this ocean's filled with all the dreams I've killed, I'm drowning here like I can't swim. I can feel it in my my blood, I'm going crazy. I can feel it in my heart, it's in my veins. If you keep running every single little day, yeah, now I believe you'll accomplish all of your dreams. And if you're headed, go ahead and blame me, baby. I've been trying every day. I grew up with nothing, so I hope the music saves me. Sick and tired of always sleeping in the rain. Save me from this place. Save me. Save me from this place. Save me. So say goodbye, and please don't cry. distance from the heavens. Every time I look through the sky, a vivid picture in my brain. Taking the vital walk alone beneath the moonlight. The rays are shining and they're gleaming ever so bright. Whoa, I'm tasting all the pain. Whoa, are you good enough for me? I can't breathe, I can't think, I cannot sleep. My thoughts freeze. You've peeled my skin right from the right, and now you're begging me, won't you be mine? My veins go cold, my heart goes numb. I cannot use my words, they won't roll off my tongue. Crossing reality is a distance from the heavens. Every time I look to the sky, a vivid picture in my brain. Taking the vital walk alone beneath the moonlight. The rays are shining and they're gleaming ever so bright. Crossing reality is a distance from the heavens. Every time I look to the sky, a vivid picture in my brain. Taking the vital walk alone beneath the moonlight. The rays are shining and they're gleaming ever so bright. Whoa, I'm tasting all the pain. Whoa, are you good enough for me? Whoa, I'm tasting all the pain. Whoa, you ain't good enough for me.
Ultimatum there with their brand new EP, Anybody Out There. That came after the interview. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed talking to the guys from Thunder Bay, Ontario. First track was the title track on that EP, Anybody Out There, followed by Save Me, followed by Drugged Inside, and then Tasting All the Pain. Make sure you go and check them out wherever they are on the internet, as we discussed in the interview. It's an easy name to type. Easy name to search for. A-L-T, Alta, M-A-D-U-M, Ultimatum. Just use your own intelligence. Just to, if I spelt that wrong, I've written it down. A-L-T-A-M-A-D-U-M. Yeah, I think I got it right. Do a search for them on your search engine of choice. Find them on all their socials. Give them a follow on Twitter, on Facebook. Go on Spotify and look for them. Absolutely awesome young band. And they're producing some great stuff. I'm really looking forward to the new album too. Okay, we're going to continue on. Keep it locked here till 10 PM. The RJ Bayley Rock Show. Castle FM Scotland and Links Radio.